All right, let's do it. Hey, all right, here we go. Another session of Off the Grid. And today we got here my man Damien Smith, man. So, hey, Damien, what's going on?
What's going on? What's going on? It's good
Hey,
to be
good.
here.
Hey, so
Excited.
just in the beginning, let's go ahead and just start with you introducing yourself, telling people who you are, what you do, and where you're at.
All right, my name is Damien Smith. I am a rapper, producer, alien. I'm just kidding. Rapper and producer. Um, right now, I'm in Gig Harbor, Washington. I'm originally from El Paso, Texas. 915 in the building. And yeah, that's me.
Awesome, man. Hey, how long have you been making music?
I've been making music for about 9 years, coming up on a decade. Funny thing, I started out because I was doing a web show and I was interviewing a local musician from Minnesota while I was in Texas. Um, and he was working on a project and he sent me a beat that his friend did for one of his songs. It was called Astral Projection. No, not Astral Projection. Oh, yeah. It was called Astral Projection. And I just thought that beat was one of the most dopest things I've ever heard. And I was like, I gotta create something like that. I gotta get on that level. So I abandoned the web show and I started just diving into to to production.
Yep.
So you started with production and
Yeah.
got into rhyming afterwards?
Well, I feel like I would always write like really bad raps in detention and stuff like that. like, like like in middle school, what they would do, when you would go to detention, you would start writing. You would write the definitions of words in the dictionary, starting from A all the way to Z. So I started like getting a lot of vocabulary. I was getting sent to detention a lot. So like my vocabulary started to expand, and I would write like really bad raps, and my friends would be like, "That's terrible," and I'm like, "Hey, I don't care." So like, I've been rapping since I was probably like 11 years old.
Yeah.
But as of recently, I started to take it a bit more seriously, hone in on like making a concept, making more focused music. But yeah, I feel like I've always been a rapper at heart.
Yeah, and so like who are you listening to, right? So you didn't just like automatically delve into rapping, you wrote that as a result, I assume, because that was the kind of music that you were listening to when you were growing
Yeah,
up. And so yeah, did you have any favorites and who kind of inspired you to start writing raps?
I feel like no one inspired me to write raps. I feel like it was just something that I had to do, like a form of self-expression.
Yep.
Um, yeah, growing up, I was the oldest. I didn't really have nobody to confide in. My mom was working, dad wasn't around, so it was more of like I got to get this off my chest.
Okay.
So that's why I started writing. But growing up, I would listen to like I grew up in the 2000s to the early to like 2010s.
Yep.
I was like Lil Wayne, uh,
Always.
50 Cent. I actually was very fond of Bow Wow growing up too.
Sure.
Yeah, I think he had an album called Wanted. He's wearing like it's
Okay.
like black and white. He had a bandana
Yep.
on. I used to listen to that all the time. But as I got older and into college, I started paying more attention to flow and lyrics and things like that from like older rappers, not legends. I'll call them legends. I don't call them older rappers. But, like Nas and the Tribe Called Quest. I really like the Tribe Called Quest. The Tribe Called Quest probably like the best rappers. Like they're probably my top one, like
Nice.
top of the list. Um, who else? Who else? Really good lyricists. Wu-Tang, got the aggression going. Ghostface
Nice,
Killer.
man.
I like Ghostface Killer a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, and Doom too. I got really into Doom like my senior year in high school,
Uh-huh.
and because I like comic books and superheroes,
Yeah.
and then he was kind of like, that was his thing. Like his raps were like a Saturday morning like adult cartoon.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Hey,
going on a bit
I'm
of
a
a
fan.
tangent, but yeah,
No, it's all good,
I
man.
guess
I'm a
I'm
fan of
trying to
all those
summarize it.
rappers that you mentioned.
Yeah.
What was the music scene like in El Paso when you were growing up? Were you like part of the scene? Did you go to shows there? Were you like rhyming at shows? Did you grow up around music, or was that did all that come later?
It came a little bit later. I would say that I've always been curious musically. Like also a little bit. I had my ear a little bit to the it's like the golden age thing. My mom grew up in the '90s, so she would always play. Or she likes Notorious B.I.G. a lot. She likes Biggie Smalls
Yep.
a lot.
Legendary.
Um, but I never I got into like performing and doing shows when I was in college. Started going to a lot of open mics, but the rap scene is not too big in El Paso, Texas. So it was like I was rapping, and a lot of the people in the audience were like indie pop people, like folk people. So it was kind of hard to relate sometimes. But I figured, hey, I love to do this, and I'm just gonna do me. I heard this one saying like only cowards play home games or something like that. So I
Yeah.
was like, hey, I'm just gonna perform, and hopefully they like it. And if they don't, it's not gonna break my spirit. Like I'm just gonna keep going.
Nice, man. And yeah, I'm not familiar with the music out in El Paso, but Texas is the home of some great music in general, hip rap wise. Did you listen to UGK at all? Bun B, Pimp C, or Paul Wall, Mike Jones? Those are some of the ones that frequented my playlist. Did you like any of that Texas rap? Scarface, of course. I'm a big fan of Scarface. Um,
Oh, right, right. I wouldn't say that I was a huge fan of them,
okay.
but I definitely will listen to the hits. I like International Players Anthem.
Yep.
With the Andre 3000 feature,
Yep. Absolutely.
Legend feature, Legendary feature. Scarface, I'm pretty sure on my block. He did on my block, right?
Yep. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not I'm not a super fan of them, but I think they make good music, and I respect them as legends.
No. Hey, what was the inspiration of using your real name as your rap name? Did you have a story behind that?
I do actually. I do. So like previously I named myself Six Sage. I was kind of like a Doom wannabe. Like I had a mask, and Six Sage was a play on a comic book character called The Question. And yeah, so I would make raps and try to be like super tough in the raps. Just try to portray like a certain image. It was me, but it wasn't all of me. But then one day I had a really bad mental breakdown, and I made a mixtape called Puzzle Pieces, and it was just like super raw, um, very painful. It was just real. And then after that, I figured, hey, when I make music, I just want to be myself, like the good, the bad, and the ugly. So then I changed. So then I started using my actual name.
Nice. Oh, that's awesome, man. And yeah, and you mentioned Six Sage, and that was actually a question that I was going to bring up too, where I was going to ask you about the Scott Pilgrim EP. So was that Puzzle Pieces? Was that before Scott Pilgrim, or I assume probably after, right?
That was that was after Scott Pilgrim. Yeah, Scott
Okay,
Pilgrim
yeah,
was
that makes
the
sense.
yeah that was the first mixtape I did with I did it with the rapper that I interviewed that showed me the beat that I
Yeah.
really liked that got me into production. Yeah, that was a good time. Like I don't even know how I was making half of those beats. Like it was just like luck. I probably for every good beat I made about 100 bad ones.
Yep, that's the process.
Just
What's your process for creating beats and for recording when you're rhyming? Like, what software are you using? How do you approach a track? What's your process?
uh for production, I just try to make something like unique. Like I just listen for sounds that feel unique, and that's really that's really what drives me. I try to put a unique snare, or like pitch the snare down one semitone, and then, you know, on the next 4 bars, pitch it up. You know, I just try to do something unique with my production to keep me interested. You know, like I want, like when people hear the instrumental, I want them to like, they could just listen to the instrumental and not be bored, you know?
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is an actual piece of music. And then,
What software are you using to record?
oh, okay, my bad. I'm using Ableton. I use Ableton to make my beats.
Nice. Is that also that platform? Can you use it to record your songs too as well?
No, I don't use Ableton to record. I use Reaper
Okay.
to record.
Oh,
Yeah, I
not
don't know. I just
sweet,
figured
man.
it's just easier.
Yeah, sounds clean, man. A lot of the stuff you put out is really well done. So, do you do all the mixing and mastering too of your songs?
I don't. I did on a work in progress. The one I did all that, but that had like I guess we can get into that later. But
Yep.
no, I'm not at the level I would want to be at mixing, and I want my stuff to sound good, so I outsource for that type of thing as of right now. But it's something that I want to keep, you know, getting better at.
Yeah, I agree. I do the same thing. I outsource mixing and mastering. You know, I know some fundamental stuff, but you're right. I want to sound as best as I could, so I get, you know, some good guys to do it. And so I think post Army, I'm gonna take some classes, man. I use my GI
Yeah,
Bill,
definitely.
dude.
Hey, you know, you earned it, right?
Yeah. So absolutely. So that's dope, man. Well, hey, man, good, man. Can you talk to us about the Scott Pilgrim EP, how that came about? And so, you know, I watched all the YouTube videos, and that was the question I was going to ask you: who was the guy in the mask? But you explained it, and so I like that. But any special story behind that on how that came about?
Scott Pilgrim EP. So
Yeah.
like the guy I was telling you about that I interviewed,
Yep.
he was like the first person to believe in my production.
Okay.
Like I would just always send him like all these really bad beats, and like he was never like, yo, this is trash, like you should stop. He was always like, hey, there's potential here, like, you know, keep going, like you're gonna be a great producer someday. So then one day we were all hanging out and we watched the Scott Pilgrim movie.
Uh-huh.
And like when I work with other rappers, well, I'm actually going to school for psychology, so like I'm really like I try to study the personalities of people around me. So when I work with rappers, I really want to cater to them so that I can inspire them to get on the beat. So I sent them a beat. I think the first one was called Fire, and I put like some Scott Pilgrim snippets in the beats. And he was like, "Yo, this is really good." And then I sent him another one. There's a scene in the movie where he's like, "Oh, what are you guys playing?" He's like, "Zelda, Tetris." So then I made this banging 8-bit, you know, with 808s. And then I sent him that, and he's like, "Oh man, we got to do a whole tape." So then it just blossomed from there, and it was really fun. Like, it was just a really fun project to do. It was a good time. Like we thought we were gonna blow up. Like, yo, this is so good. We're gonna blow up. Um, but yeah,
Hey, that was great, man.
that's kind of what inspired it. The rapper, that's his favorite movie, and I wanted to inspire him to get on the beats. And I also kind of looked up to him because he was the first person to believe in my production. So
That's
I
right.
was just really putting all my effort into, you know, making good beats for him, and we ended up doing a project together.
Is he from Texas too?
No, he was from Minnesota.
Okay.
He came down because his brother was in the Air Force and he was stationed at Fort Bliss.
Oh, interesting. Awesome,
Yeah.
man. Well, hey, man. So that was like my first introduction to your music, and so you know, obviously, I met you later on in your musical journey, and so, man, a lot of development from then and to what you're putting out now, man. I think you've progressed quite quickly, and yeah, you're doing your thing. So that's good to see.
I appreciate that.
So
Yeah, for
how
sure.
did you guys end up crossing paths?
All right, I'll let him tell the story. I want to hear his perspective of how we met, and then I'll tell
Oh,
my story.
okay. Um, so we met. I was doing I was trying to get into Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and I think it was one day where it was like open roll, so there wasn't a lot of people there. So like the conversations were a bit more intimate.
Yep.
So like so we went there. I'm still a white belt, by the way. So I was just there, just learning the process. Got beat up a little bit, and then we were all chopping it up. And I was just trying to spread more awareness. I was like, oh, I make rap music, and then he's like, oh, I make rap music too. And then I believe he gave me a ride back, and then I
Yep.
showed him a song of mine called "Loose Bowels." And he's like,
Yep.
"Oh, this is good." He's like, "I like this," and he's like, "Let me show you some of my stuff." And then he played the Weak song, that he did with Shorts. That's no,
Yeah, the Schwartz album. Yep. Oh,
yeah,
it's
the
crazy.
Shorts album, and I was like, "Yo, this is like incredible." I was surprised because I know you guys know like a lot of people say, "Oh, I make music," and like you listen to it, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, you make music, but it's all right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
And then, but like I heard your song, and I was like, damn, like I can hear this. I can hear the song on the radio. Like this is a really good song. Um, so then I went home and I bought that mixtape, and I just looking through. I was like, damn, like he can spit. Like he's really good. So then the relationship we just been in contact here and there ever since. Just being positive for one another when we drop stuff, or if he shows pictures of his family. It's I want to have a family someday. So I'm like, oh man, this is a good guy. I'm glad I bumped into him. He's also helped me like progress in my career in terms of like getting covers. He put me onto Fiverr where I could link up with other musicians and things. And yeah, he's just always
That's
been a positive dude, and just watching my journey. I'm watching this journey, and yeah, and I think that sums it up pretty good on my end.
yeah.
Where were
You
you guys?
guys.
Was this in Hawaii or where was it?
It was in Korea.
Oh,
Where
Korea.
we
Okay.
met.
Okay. So you're in the army too?
Yes, I believe RB.
Okay. Are you on the enlisted side or?
Yes, I'm enlisted. Yeah,
Cool.
Yeah. So
I
after
didn't know I didn't know his rank. That's what I appreciated about him too, because I'm sure he was a much higher rank, but
no.
he was very humble, and that was never even brought
Yeah.
up.
He'd probably tell you like he was choking me out, man. We were choking each other for like the first hour and a half. And so what I did was when I was talking to him, I was like, hey, what are you up to this weekend, right? Because it was a Saturday morning roll. And like I think we did like open mat like at 07 or 08, something like
Yeah.
ungodly early. And so yeah,
Uh,
and he told me like, hey, I make rap music, and I was like, what? And I was like,
yeah.
oh man, and that just instantly, man, I found that instant connection. I was like, man, we're best friends now, man. So
Yeah.
it was great, man. And so you're right, man. I did give him a ride back to his barracks, and then we played music for each other, and we just exchanged music. And man, I always got love from my army brothers or sisters that make music too, man. So it was a great additional connection that we made. And you're right, we stayed in touch, and it's been fun watching you progress as an MC, man. And I'm cheering you on from wherever I'm at. But that's good, man. Like I mentioned, man, the stuff from 2016 to 2023 is really different, and you've been putting folks on notice, man. So I appreciate
Yeah.
the barrage of singles that you have on digital streaming platforms, and you got this track called Secrets that
Oh,
I'm feeling, and I'll go through some of the other tracks, but man, just yourself in terms of development, man, it's been a big change, man, and that's really dope to see.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
I was listening to your stuff. Ro had sent it to me a couple weeks ago, and I really liked the production a lot. That's why I was kind of interested in what you're using because we come from a different era making music, and so Ro will tell you it's just Cool Edit Pro, man. That's cool.
Yeah,
Pretty much all we would use to record. So it's kind of interesting because none of us are up to date with like Ableton or Reaper or anything else that's kind of come later. We're still kind of utilizing the same stuff that we were using 20 years ago. So it's kind of cool to see like how things have progressed and sound, and like I just really like the beats that you were putting out. Production is really on point.
Oh, I appreciate that. Like one thing that inspired me, I used to be insecure about, oh, I don't have like this big studio or whatever. But
Yeah.
I watched this one interview by The Alchemist,
Okay.
and he was like, "Hey, like whatever you make, like just make it sing. Like it just gotta sound hot. You know,
Yeah.
it don't really matter what you know the kind. I mean, I'm sure certain equipment will help, but
Yeah.
I feel like as long as it sounds good, if it sounds good, it sounds good. Um, so I take a very minimalistic approach too. Like even when I use Ableton, I don't have like a pad, like the pads or anything. Like I literally just on my laptop, you know, that that's it. You know, chopping up samples, and I just try to make it sing. I mean, and you guys make great music too, man.
Yeah, dude. It's the simplistic stuff that always makes the best songs. You know, I told Ro this one time. I was working with a guy called Spoonful
Yeah.
back in the day, and we had a few fans, and this one fan who later ended up making a bunch of pretty solid albums would hit us up all the time for advice on how to record. And at some point, one time he hit us up and he was like, "Man, he had spent $2,000 on Pro Tools, which back then that's how much Pro Tools cost because it was like top of the line software for recording." And he's like, "Hey, can you guys show me how to use this?" And we're like, "Dude, we don't know how to use Pro Tools. We use a pirated version of Cool Edit Pro, right? Like in a
Yeah,
cheap SM58 mic. Our whole setup was like 50 bucks." And he thought
yeah,
that we were messing with them, but we just used all the cheap stuff. And I know Son of Rand did the same thing. He was just using, you
yeah,
know, he was just using basic Cool Edit Pro and real
Yeah.
cheap SM58 mic, and Ro uses the same thing. And so it's like when you start digging into some of these pretty solid albums that people have put out over the last 25 years or so, you start digging, you find that people are just using like real basic equipment, Cool Edit Pro, cheap stuff, and they're putting out good stuff. So I mean, like I said, the broke stuff is the dope stuff. You don't need to spend all this money on all this
yeah.
fancy equipment because if it sounds good, it sounds good. You know.
Exactly. Yeah, we're on the same
Yeah.
page.
Yeah, and so yeah, 2023 stuff, man. You got your work in progress album that you just dropped, and for me at least, the last 2 years that I've seen your music, it's been very focused on just yourself. Producing and rapping. Are you working with anybody else right now, or are you just more just working on yourself and getting your stuff out there?
It's mainly just solo, but
Okay.
I'm not against working with other artists,
Yep.
but I really got to feel like some type of connection, or I gotta really want to work with them and respect them. I respect like the people who are like, oh, I could, like the artists on Fiverr, like I'll write a verse for you $50, and they're
Yep.
just like they've probably written about 1,000 verses,
Yep.
or the producers on there who will make probably hundreds and thousands of beats. I respect that they have that much in the creative tank, but you know, for myself, I really try to make it like the music meaningful, and
Yep.
I'm very selective in that way, but I'm not against it.
Yeah, no, it's dope, man. So it's great that I see that you kind of just hone in your craft and constantly trying to improve yourself. I mean, you had some great standout tracks like Mine, Money, and Time that I enjoyed. Shout out to Outkast, who you kind of shout
Uh,
out with Fresh and So
yeah,
Clean. You can say it's in my jeans line.
yeah,
Rock Lee, the hook is on point, and I love the elbow grease lit line that you use in the album. Just a lot of good solid tracks that I appreciate, and yeah, yeah. I just it was fun to watch you showcase those singles. Do you want to talk to us about Work in Progress and how that project was conceived? What was your intent with making that album and just the experience overall?
sure, yeah, like I said before, like I was talking about before, like just showing the good, bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
Um, like I don't want to show people my highs without showing them my lows. So that was the main intent on the project. I wanted to mix it. I wanted to do everything on it because it's a work in progress. So it was it intentionally had a rough aesthetic. I didn't try to come up with any fancy flows. Uh, just just songs really raw, and yeah, that's just really important to me. Like honestly, it's just really important to me now. So that's basically what it is, you know. And I just want to
Yeah.
show people too, like, hey, like we all, like everybody got problems, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So whatever you see on social media or on the net, like that's a lot of the times that's just a small piece of somebody's life.
That's right.
So yeah, that's what inspired it. You know, I just wanted to show people my lows before I show them my highs.
Yep. Well said, man. I appreciate that. That was good. And so I agree with you, man. Work in progress. Like I'm never satisfied with anything that I put out, and I feel like there's always room for improvement. So I really dig the title "Work in Progress" because I see myself as that, and I'm just never going to be perfect, right? So, but I strive to be in the best that I can. So I really connected with that song title. Awesome, man.
Awesome,
You
yeah. I'm
still doing?
glad.
Are you still doing shows?
Uh, right now, no. I'm trying to really finish college right now. Like I'm right at the end. Like I'm just trying to focus on that. But I plan to. I plan to. I really want to see people face to face now. Like
Yeah.
that's my next thing. Like I really want to get out there and perform and
Yep.
have conversations, with people after the show. Like I'm craving that connection now. I've been
That's
by
fun.
myself, like honing in on the skill, honing in on who I am as a person, and now I just want to start like making these connections. I feel like a part of the reason why I started making music was to find friends, to find a community. And like
Yep.
when you put your authentic self out there, you're gonna get you know people who appreciate you for you, and those friendships will blossom. Yeah, long-winded way to answer that question.
But I did see videos of you rapping in New Mexico, right? You did a couple. I don't know if it was an open mic of some sort, but hey, I see you
Yeah,
still trying to stay active, and that's dope. So I appreciated watching you perform out at New Mexico. That was cool.
yeah, definitely. Like, yeah, when I come back to El Paso, there's a guy there who does open mics like every night.
Yeah.
So it's so easy to just show up to one and perform. Here it's a little bit harder. Like the rap scene is even more bare here
Mm.
than
Yeah.
it is over there. But I'm gonna try.
Yeah. No, it's good that you're still staying active in some sort of aspect of music. So that I definitely enjoy, and you're definitely active in putting this music out. So that was cool, man. I think Flip the Script too. You also just recently released that track too as well, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, which was a fun track, man. Yeah, how do you do it, man? I mean, how do you juggle all that stuff with being in the army, doing school, and then doing music, man? What's your approach in trying to just make sure that you get music down?
I just try to stay present. 'Cause I feel like when you think about like the magnitude of of all these things for too long, that's when it starts to feel really heavy. But if I'm like, oh, all I got to do right now is focus on writing this verse, or all I got to do right now is focus on writing this paper, and then just have those small wins add up, and just keep pushing forward to the next thing. Also have an amazing wife,
Yep.
who adds no stress to me whatsoever.
Nice.
Well, obviously, I mean, y'all in a relationship, sometimes it's stressful, but but for the most part, she's an amazing partner and just supports whatever I do, and I feel like she's a big part of why I'm able to handle all that stuff as well.
Man, it sounds like you got stuff. You're heading in the right direction. You got your career. You're about to finish up the degree. You got a supportive family. You're putting out the music, putting it down. I mean, it seems like you got a
Yeah.
lot of positive stuff going on in your life right now.
Yeah, yeah. It took me a while to cultivate my environment, but I made it a priority, and it's paying dividends.
Yeah, I definitely enjoy seeing you living out in Washington. And how much longer do you have in Washington?
I have about another year and a half.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we probably departed Korea about the same time. But that was like New Mexico. What were you doing out in New Mexico? Were you just there for vacation, or did you? I
Well,
thought it was. Yeah, was that correct? The videos, they were in New Mexico, or was it in Washington?
the one where I'm performing, I believe it was in El Paso, but I
Oh, okay.
wasn't. I was
I
in
got
New
it wrong.
Mexico. I was in New Mexico out there, and Mexico is really close. It's like maybe
Yeah.
a 30-minute drive. So I was out in New Mexico. There's a place called White Sands out there.
Yep, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you
Oh,
might have seen that. I might have
yeah.
posted a picture out on White Sands. But
Okay. Oh, all right. Yeah, I may have mixed the two up, but needless to say, man, awesome that you're still doing it. And yeah, I enjoy seeing the photos of you and your wife, man, just having a good time out there and enjoying the Army life. But
yeah,
good deal, man.
Yeah, man,
well,
Washington's awesome place to be. I mean, with if you like nature, like you just got.
oh yeah.
I'm looking at those trees behind you, man, and
Huh.
I'm missing that part of the country because I do a lot of trail running, outside of
Oh
the music conversation, and like, man, Washington, Oregon, all those places, man. You got mountains out there, you got trails, you got rivers, all sorts of stuff, man. If you're gonna be stationed anywhere, that's the place to be.
definitely, it's gorgeous out here, especially in the summer. And it was a nice change of pace. Like where I'm from, it's the desert. Like there's no
Yeah.
tree. All the grass is fake. It's plastic grass. So like when I'm out here and I can actually touch a tree and like it's real. Yeah, and my wife, she convinced me, you know, to appreciate this place a lot more. She was like you were saying, like it has everything. It has bodies of water, it has trees, it has mountains.
Yeah.
It's just you're right. It's just a really nice place to be, just for your mental health and yeah.
How do
Hey,
you how do you does environment impact your music in any way? Like, do you find yourself writing or creating beats differently when you're home in El Paso versus when you're in Korea versus here you are in Washington? How does your environment impact the music that you write?
Um,
And if not at all, then that's totally cool too. I was just kind of curious because for me, whenever I've worked on tracks, and I'm sure Ro will say the same thing because this last album we worked on, he was in Korea, I was in Kansas, and I always kind of get mentally, I can go back to where I was at that point in time when I was working on things, and so each place
yeah.
that I've been has influenced my writing in some way. So I was just kind of curious if that was the case for you too. If not, then that's totally fine.
Oh yeah. Like I understand, and I think that's dope. I think just a lot of my music just stems from what I'm going through internally.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's mainly what I go for. And then the internet makes like you have access to so many things too. So like I don't know if you guys have ever heard of ASAP Rocky.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like he's from New York, but he's not like he has a lot of different influences in his music because of the internet. Because the internet widened that that scope of what we could be influenced by. But I mean the environment definitely does help in terms of like how I feel
Yeah,
and my energy levels.
I like it.
Yeah, so like definitely here, like in the summer, like it's sunny, it's beautiful. I feel much better. I probably make more music in the summertime around here just because I feel better. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't
Not
it doesn't
those
it doesn't inspire any like tracks like it doesn't inspire like what I write about.
yeah.
But yeah.
So did the cold Korean winters not inspire you at all, man? It was
Oh,
freezing, man. Holy
oh,
cow.
I mean, it inspires me in a different way. It inspires me like, oh, I gotta push through this.
Yeah.
I gotta rough it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is this
Yeah.
is a
And
test. Yeah.
no, that's funny and that's true, man. Hey, I forgot to ask you, man. Do you freestyle at all? Do you like to freestyle? And some do, some don't. But what about you?
Yeah. I wouldn't say I'm a good freestyler, but you
Good.
know, if somebody put on a beat and was like, let's freestyle for a bit, I'll put myself out there. The raps
Yeah.
might be very simple. I might repeat a lot of words, but it's I just I just try to have fun. I'm mainly very like meticulous now with my music. Like the title of the song drives it, and I attack that concept in different
Yeah.
ways. I sit down and I think, but yeah, I'll freestyle every now and again in the shower, or in the car,
Yeah, yeah, me
or
too.
or
Me
on or on like hanging out with some friends and they put on a beat. Let's be stupid for a little bit.
Yeah. No, I was just curious. Yeah, when I was younger, I used to freestyle a lot, and since I got older, maybe I just, just with the family and stuff, I haven't gotten a chance to do it so much with friends. But yeah, same. I'll do it in the shower when I'm driving. When at any social event if it comes up after a little bit of drinking. But I was
Yeah,
just I never asked you if you did or not, and so
yeah,
that's cool. Yep, we're on the same level, my man.
yeah, most definitely. It's
Cool.
like it's kind of one of my fears is like I'm gonna get on one of those podcasts and they're like, all right, put on a beat, freestyle. And
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah, yeah.
oh shit.
No,
That's actually where we were going next, bro. Hit
I
the
was,
hit the
Oh
track.
no.
no, I definitely wouldn't have put you on the spot like that, man. And so yeah,
Hey,
just man.
I'll do my best. I'll do my best.
Yeah, yeah. No, I hear you, man.
There'll be
Hey,
some
just
Britons in there for sure.
like it's freestyling, like it's original content, right? Like you're not, if you're repeating some of the words, at least I know you're doing it off the top. And I know
Yeah.
nowadays people got a couple in the chamber where they got ready and then they ask them
Yeah.
to freestyle, and I'm like, dude, that's too good for a freestyle, man. Like,
Yeah, like no
yeah,
way. Like
there's no way it's a freestyle, man.
yeah, it's freaking like Gig Harbor freestyle, and then it's like all these really intricate double entendres. I'm like, okay, like
Yeah. Amen, man. Well, it's good. Hey, what are you listening to nowadays, man? Do you have a particular album or artist that you're feeling?
yeah, like I was thinking about that. Um, in terms of rap, I really like Denzel Curry.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's one of the best out right now.
Okay.
One of the newer guys. Who else? Who else?
J. Cole, man.
Oh,
I'm feeling
Cole.
him.
Yeah, I mean Cole's a legend. He's a legend now.
Yeah, I love his stuff, and the Nas dropped his new album I think yesterday, and I look forward to hearing that with
Oh, dang! I
production
gotta
by
I gotta
Hit
check that
Boy.
out.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I still love what's going out there these days. A lot of good stuff that's still coming out. Rumor, Andre 3000 is supposed to be dropping an album.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Killer Mike spilled the beans, man.
yeah, and then he came back and said that he was just kidding. So I don't know if Andre
Yeah,
had called him and said, "Hey man, you spoiled my secret," or what. But I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful for a new Outkast or Andre album. So we'll see. Well, good
yeah,
man.
definitely. Outkast is interesting too because they're like I would say they're a bit of an influence. I'm not gonna say I'm like an avid Outkast fan, but I like their spirit. They have an album called AT Aliens.
Yep.
It's just very very unique. Like they're very like Andre's like very strange, but like
Yeah.
he got bars. Like he could spit his ass off, and they were still able to like top to like get on the charts and make popular music as well. So I'm always intrigued by people who could do something extremely unique, but then
Yeah.
they become very successful at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like how did they do that?
Yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right. And they're definitely the kings of that. Being not afraid of being original, and so yeah, they put themselves out there and they did real well. Well, hey, what does Damien like to do in his spare time, man? What are you doing outside of music and work?
Outside of music and work, I'm I like to go to the gym. I'm not gonna say like I'm a meathead or anything like that, but I like to stay fit. Um, I like smoking cigars. I like I like watching movies. We just
Yeah.
watched The Sound of Freedom yesterday. I don't know if you
Oh,
guys have seen that at all, but that was a very powerful movie. Um, I like to hoop sometimes, play basketball.
yeah,
Yeah, say that summarizes it. See nature every now and again.
yeah. Super dope, man. Well, it's good, man. Yeah, all those pastimes I'm into. Basketball. But you got a Philly jersey on. Are you a Texas fan though? San Antonio or
Oh,
Dallas?
oh yeah, Philly. Yeah, I like this is an Allen Iverson.
That's right, legend,
Alright.
man. Yeah, everybody loves
Yeah,
Allen Iverson.
Allen Iverson. Yeah, I like his rebel spirit, and like he was 6 foot. dropping like 60 on Kobe and stuff like that. I've
Yeah.
always respected him in that way for his originality, and
Yeah.
then that he was a smaller guy going up against the Giants, and they had no answer for him because he was the answer.
That's right. Yeah, I used to have the shoes, man. Allen Iverson, I was super into. I think he played at Georgetown right before going pro. But yeah, Allen
Yeah.
Iverson. So yeah, but between San Antonio and Dallas, which team do you favor?
Between San Antonio and Dallas, I'll say San Antonio,
Okay,
the
cool.
Spurs. Yeah,
Nice.
I've always liked the Spurs a little bit more growing up. Like I was a combo guard in high school, so like and a lefty. So like Manu Ginobili
Yeah.
was a guy that I looked up to in the basketball aspect.
Yep.
Yeah, that those four legends, Tony Parker, Tim
Yep.
Duncan, Manu. Well, the three. There was three. I'm thinking of Kawhi Leonard too, but he came a little bit afterwards. Helped them get a couple chips against Miami, or a chip against Miami.
Well, good deal, man. Well, hey, thanks for the rundown on all the music and just allowing for us to get to know who Damien is. What are you working on right now? What kind of projects do you have in the pocket?
Yeah, and when are the two of you guys gonna link up for a track?
We have.
Oh,
We
yeah,
did
okay.
together. Yeah.
Yeah,
I have to hear. All right, you have to send me that one.
He didn't
yeah,
use
we
it,
have.
man.
Yeah,
He trashed it, man.
it was a banger. Yeah, he came with a killer verse. Like,
Yeah, thanks for the invite. And then we had Remshot remix it, which was dope too as well.
yeah,
So
Yeah,
yeah,
you have to
I
send
don't know
that.
what he did with the track. I sent it to him, so he's welcome.
What's the name of the track?
I can't
the
remember the
track is
name
called
off the top
Sometimes.
of my head, but it was great. Yeah, he killed it too, and we did, man. We got some Army love on that track. It was a hard song.
Yeah, definitely. I think the main reason why I haven't put it out yet because I talk about like my ex in the song. Now I have a wife,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
like I'm a bit like it's kind of, but definitely I'm always down to work with him. Like he's an incredible artist who's been doing it for a really long time. Just I guess the stars haven't aligned yet, but we'll definitely. I'm always down, and I know, I'm sure we'll
Yeah,
definitely get some tracks out there together in the future.
absolutely. We got one in the pocket coming soon. And so, aside from that, are you working on the next project, or are you just kind of working on just putting out work in progress and sharing it with more people?
Oh yeah, thanks for asking. I got one project I'm gonna drop called Balance to the Force. Like
Nice.
I'm a Star Wars fan, and like
Yeah.
the meaning behind that is like I feel like I found balance in myself, and then also balance all the hedonistic rap that talks about like killing people and being with a bunch of girls and just a bunch of hedonistic stuff, like bringing balance to that, to the rap game, so to speak.
I
Because I
like
feel
it.
like
When you projecting the release for that project?
the release for that maybe around December, but
Okay, perfect, man.
it's done. It's done. I'm just
Nice.
trying to release it, the singles, trying to market myself a little bit better.
Yeah, are you so you got to let the work in progress album breathe a little bit. It just came out, and so yeah, man,
Yeah.
let it breathe a little bit and let it get out. It's a dope album, dope project. I enjoyed it. And so, hey, another thing I want to ask you before we close the session is, you're coming from the younger generation, and so what's your philosophy just in terms of like physical copies of the album, right? So I got a lot of younger guys who they tell me that, sometimes they ask me why am I still putting like the physical copy of the CDs out, and that's just something I'm stuck on. I grew up, collecting tapes and CDs, and so for me, I enjoy putting those physical copies out. But what about you? Are you into that? Or you just do you want your stuff only primarily on digital streaming platforms and just on the internet, or do you like the physical copies too? What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a good thing. Like I think just so much. What's the word? I don't know. I like the physical copies. You feel more connected to the album. you have to listen to every track when you get a physical copy. You can't just like, oh, 20 seconds in, I'm not feeling it, skip. You know what I mean? You got to give the music a chance when you get a physical copy. So I'm definitely for that. I think we're using a little bit too much technology. And it's not allowing you to savor things.
Well said, man.
That's a really good way of putting it. I remember having the Nas's Stillmatic cassette, like the cassette, right? Because my car was 95 Grand Am, and it just had a cassette. And so I would just have that, and you couldn't skip unless you just hit the fast forward button, and then you had to try to time it, right? And so you just have to listen to the cassette, and you'd appreciate it, because I literally listened to that until the tape broke. Because, eventually with the cassette tapes, you would wear them out, and then they'd get stuck in the machine, and you had to pull them out, and the tape was done. But it did make you really appreciate something, because you had to listen to it. And it's a little bit oversaturated now. The nice part is that we can now all collaborate with each other. We can put music out quickly. People can access it on their phones. It's right there. The downside is it kind of becomes oversaturated. And so you might listen to something for a little, like 10, 15 seconds, and then go to the next track. Or, it's just too much going on. Having that physical copy, like you mentioned, you put it really well. Like you really articulated that well, that it really forces you to appreciate it and really focus in on the music.
Yeah, and I think I developed that appreciation because my grandma, she collects like cassettes, vinyls, CDs, and then like growing up when I first got it, like, what the hell is this? Like, like what am I supposed to do with this? And she's like, it's a cassette. And then I actually, before I joined the Army, I had a 2000 Ford Contour and actually had a cassette player.
Oh, nice.
So like, my grandma was going through her cassettes. She has like all types of music. Like I told her I was trying to learn Spanish. She gave me like some Spanish cassettes. I bumped those. I slide that in. So I think I got a little bit lucky. Like my like the people around me have always showed me how they grew up, and it allowed me to appreciate, how we got to the place we are. But I think it's important. Like, I think the next album, I think I'm gonna try to put some vinyls out.
Yeah.
And stuff. So yeah, I definitely think it's a good thing, and I think it helps the artist too. Because you don't make a lot of money off of streaming. you gotta get like 100,000 streams to make $100 or something like that.
Yeah, if so even.
Yeah, the physical
copy
to
sell the shows. If you're gonna start doing shows again, you got something physical there you can give people.
Yeah, the merch.
That was great, man. Well, good deal, man. Well, hey, let's run it back when Balance to the Force drops in December or whenever it comes out. That's good. Again, thank you for the inside baseball on Damien as an MC and producer. That was fun to do this deep dive. Hey, do you want to tell the group before we close out the session where to find your music at?
Yeah, just my regular name, Damien Smith, Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Pandora, Instagram, Damien Smith, DAMIEN SMITH, and yeah, you'll find me. And thanks a lot for the opportunity. I feel like it's just always good to get around people who understand music and we could have like deep conversations about that. So I'm thank you so much for the opportunity, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, you are the future of music, man. So at some point, I'll just blow away in the dust, and you gotta represent, man. So I'm happy. I'm happy that I got to know you, and it's been awesome watching your thing, man.
That reminds me of a song you dropped. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I think it was Sunset, right? Yeah, you had a line. You had a line like, "Time to be a dad. I'm hanging up the."
Yeah.
I doubt you're gonna hang it up, but like that reminded me of your song. I was bumping that the other day. I'm like, it's a really good song, but yes.
Thank you. Yeah, it's true, man. So you got 20, 30 years.
Red Sunset. Red Sunset.
That's right. Yeah, produced by my man Chrome. But yeah, absolutely, man. You got still 30 years ahead of you, or however long you go, man. I'm on the other end, so it'll be fun watching and talking about you. So let's run it back, man. Thank you for your time.
Yep. Thank you guys.